Alright, we're continuing with our big idea. Knowing what numbers means helps us to compare things and solve problems. We are moving on to comparing and ordering decimal numbers, which we did already, but now we're comparing and ordering decimal numbers up to the thousandths place. So that's the difference here, up to the thousandths place. Alright, so in order to compare numbers, one of the ways we can do that is to use the place value chart. Write each decimal in the place value chart, and then you have a very clear description as to which is the largest number. And again, this involves making them all equivalent by adding zeros if necessary. So first we would compare the largest place value position, which is the tenths. They're all 1, so they're equal there. Then we would compare the hundredths position, and 5 is the largest, so that would make 0.150 or 150 thousandths the largest number. And this one, 110 thousandths, the smallest number, and 3 and 2 in between. So it would be 0.15, 0.139, 0.125, and 0.11. And again, you can see they've added zeros on the end, which hasn't changed the value at all. Use equivalent decimals, which we kind of did above, but here it's just using the equivalent decimals. So adding that 0, so it's 150, 139, adding that 0, so it's 110, and 125. And again, we can easily compare those. 150 is the largest, 139 is next, 125 next, and 110 the smallest. Another way you could do that is to use a number line. Starting with 110, moving all the way up to 120. And the intervals in between, so again, 150 here at the 0 on the end. 139 would be right around between these two here. 111 would be right there, and 125 would be right between these two here. So again, we can order them, this being the largest, and move our way back down. So that would be a number line that you could use. Alright, to practice, we are going to do some of the questions in question 1. We're going to do A, D, and G. So you're going to order them from least to greatest. Take a moment now and order these numbers from least to greatest on your paper. Go ahead and do that now. Alright, well, let's take a look. So to start off with, we have 0.8, 0.3, 0.7. That one's pretty straightforward. They're all in the 1 decimal place value position. We know that this is the smallest number, this would be the second smallest number, and this would be our greatest number. D, a little bit trickier. 12, 0.99, 0.81. Again, not too difficult, because they're all already 2-digit numbers. We know 12 is the smallest number. So this would be our first one, this would be our second one, and 99 would be our last one. Let's take a look at our last one. Again, not too bad. 0.529, 0.592, 0.925. Well, if I look at my place value positions, 9 is the largest, so that's our biggest number. These two are close because they both have 5, so I need to look at my next place value position, 9, or I can look at the whole number, 529 compared to 592. 592 is bigger, and 0.529 is the smallest. So least to greatest, we've got this is our smallest number, this is our second number, and this is our third number. Alright, now we're going to try one that I'm going to make a little bit harder, and we're going to use a combination of these numbers here. Let's say we were going to compare 0.5 to 0.73 to 0.118 and 0.125. Go ahead and try comparing those now. Press pause and do that on your paper. All right, let's take a look. Now, again, I'm going to make them into equivalent decimals, so they all have 3 digits. Makes it much easier to look at. I'm going to be looking for the smallest number, so I'm going to look at my tens place. Well, these two are both going to be smallest, so I'm not 100% sure which one is smallest yet, so I have to look at the next place value position. 1 is less than 2, so I know 0.118 is smallest. That would make this one our second smallest, 125. Next, I go back to looking at my tenths place. We had the 5 and we had the 7. The 5 was next smallest, so 0.5. And then 7 is next smallest, so 0.73 would be the order that those would be in. So you are comparing some that have fewer digits than others. All right, you are ready to move on to your concept practice. All right, your concept practice for today is going to be page 189, 190. For numbers 1, all we have left is C, F, and I because we used up the others in our practice. 2, 3, 5, 11, and 14. And remember, you are working on ordering and comparing decimals to the thousandths place. If you have questions along the way, make sure you ask. And again, for those of you that are forgetting your textbooks, here are the questions for the first portion. And the second portion, make sure you press pause and do those. And one more. And this is our last page. Again, along the way, if you have questions, please remember to ask.